Hello, everyone. My name is Sarah, and I am a victim. I lost my son to Kenley to a drunk driver. Now, over the last several years, I have learned quite a bit about how our justice system works. It is not what I thought it was. And I'm here today to share you some of those experiences to help you get through this horrible time. Now, this life sentence is something that none of us should have to bear. The reality is not only do we have to bear it, but we also must navigate this horrendous legal system that is confusing and it always protects the accused. And we have to navigate it, especially when we're suffering from trauma, depression, and PTSD. And the truth is, making an innocent mistake, we can land ourselves in trouble with the law. Unfortunately, in the eyes of the law, we can't say, I didn't know, or I was in depression, or I had trauma shock. But again, like I said, the criminal gets all the rights. Now, in my last video, I discussed how you can't record a conversation in some states, like Nevada, without the other person's permission. This restriction reminds us how the legal system restricts actions that we might think are harmless or justified. Now, these laws are designed to protect people's rights, but they can feel frustrating when we're grieving and want to act. And believe me, it's so easy to make a mistake. Now, today, I want to speak about another crucial legal restriction. Now, it's here in Nevada, but it's also in other states. One that directly affects how we handle the aftermath of tragedies, like losing a loved one to a drunk driver. As of September 2024, Nevada passed a law that prevents us from publicly sharing the mugshot of someone arrested for DUI until they have been convicted, which could mean years. This means that even if the person responsible for taking your loved one's life has been arrested, we are legally prohibited from posting their mugshots until they've been found guilty in court. Arrested, not convicted. Also, be careful about using the name on social media. Again, you can get in trouble. Now, for me, the man who killed my son, I finally have in prison, and I can mention his name and show his picture. And it's Dennis Rodriguez Abeda Jr. I know how difficult that is to hear, especially when you're you've lost someone so dear and you're grieving. When someone takes a life through such reckless actions like drunk driving, our first instinct is to show the world their face, to make sure people know who caused this immense pain that we have. But in reality is that if we post a mugshot before someone is convicted, we could face legal consequences. Now, under this new Nevada law, posting someone's mugshot prematurely could result in fines, civil lawsuit, and I would say some heckling, maybe even from family members or friends. Now, the law protects the concept of innocent until proven guilty. Innocent until proven guilty. I don't know about you, but the man who killed my child was seatbelted into a car upside down. It is obvious that he was in that car. But then, that's another story, how the defense attorney can get him off. Now, this concept is incredibly frustrating. But we, the victims, must follow it to avoid unnecessary legal trouble. Now, other states are doing the same thing, like Louisiana, for example, has a similar law. Now, understand similar law requiring mugshot to be released after conviction unless it is necessary for public safety, like tracking down a fugitive. California and New York also have rules preventing public release of mugshots before sentencing. Always check your state's laws. That's another confusing situation. They're all different. Now, this law is based on protecting presumption of innocence, which is critical to the functioning of our legal system. Now, while that can be hard for victims to accept, especially when we know someone is responsible for the death of our loved ones, the reality is, again, we must be careful. And I know it is hard. We can't afford to make mistakes, but we will make them in the process, because breaking the law, even by accident, we're not going to be forgiven just because we didn't know, just because we were suffering trauma, just because we're in depression. For victims like us, it's yet another burden to carry in the wake of our loss, in the wake of this life sentence. Now, there are some exceptions to this law. For instance, if releasing a mugshot is necessary, like I said, to protect safety, then yes, it can be done. Or like, say, somebody escaped, or a fugitive, it can be shared. But again, most mugshots are off limits until a conviction is made. I know I said that several times, but it's very important. You would think that someone who drinks excessively and drives would be a threat. No, but it isn't. You think they would be a threat because most of them bail out and keep their license. And it takes sometimes years. In my case, it took a year to get him into jail. He was driving free all that period of time. Statistics show that arrests will not stop them from drinking and driving. Why would it? It's like a revolving door. Go in, get somebody to bail you out. They don't take it seriously. At least most of them don't. And yes, some states like Texas will not take driver's license away even if they kill somebody. At least that is what the DA's office told me in Lubbock. I also want to touch on something else. Now, while the law restricts sharing mugshots, it doesn't specifically prevent us from mentioning the name of the person who causes pain on social media platforms like Facebook. However, this comes with risks too. Mentioning their name could still have legal consequences, mainly if it implies guilt before court ruling. This could lead to defamation claims, which the accused argues that their reputation has been unfairly damaged. Go figure. So even though it may feel like an outlet, and boy it does, to name the person responsible publicly, and we must approach it carefully. My best advice is to contact an attorney in your area for help before you do anything like this. Because every state is different in everything, as a matter of fact. Always, always, always remember the criminal has all the rights, and the DA is working for the state, not for you. This is our reality. Again, The DA is working for the state, not for you. This is our reality, and it's a rude awakening. Because I don't know about you, but I always thought the DA was there to help me. But no, it isn't true. They will tell you that. Now, again, let's talk about an arrest, which is often labeled, but we must avoid making public accusations of guilt. If we have cause, we might unintentionally land ourselves in more legal trouble. Something none of us needs on top of what we're already going through. For those of us who have been through this, and there's many of us out there, I know this law can feel like just one more obstacle, that some days you feel like you just cannot take one more thing. But I guess we have to. It feels like it's protecting the person who caused our pain rather than standing up for us victims. Well, it's true. It is true. But it's a law we must follow. And if we aren't careful, we can end up harming ourselves more than anyone else. Now, this doesn't mean we're powerless. While we must be cautious about sharing mugshots or names, we can still make our voices heard. We can channel our grief and frustration into advocating for stronger DUI laws and raising awareness about deadly consequences of drunk driving. But will people listen? I don't know. Actually, I'm in an advocacy group, a wonderful group of people, but I just don't feel that people want to listen to what we have to say because they feel it's not going to happen to them. You know, I miss my son Kenley every day. Every single day I cry. This law doesn't change the fact that someone took him from me. But I put up a mugshot. I put his name up on Facebook. Fortunately, this was before the law was enacted. So I could have gotten in trouble. Now, I could fight for stronger laws to prevent this from happening to other families. And I encourage you, if that is something you feel you can do. For me, I can't do this. And for my age, I couldn't do it. For me, it's helping other victims. We all have to find something that we can do to live through this nightmare that we're living through. In conclusion, this new law about mugshots is another hurdle, like I said. But so it's only one more hurdle of all the many that we've had to go through this last while. We all want justice for our loved ones and other families, and the system to function properly. You know, as I sit here talking to all of you, I'm holding back the tears because I miss my son. And if I had Dennis Rodriguez Abeta Jr. here with me right now, I'd probably claw his eyes out. Yes, I'm angry. But clawing his eyes out would only cause more problems. All I can say is this. Hug your family if you're so fortunate to have them. Know that your loved one is looking down upon you and is saying that they are very proud of how strong you are. I want to thank you for tuning in today to listen to me. I am the proud mother of Dr. Kenley Jean Raney, not an attorney, but a victim who lost him tragically by a drunk driver on January 25th, 2019. Thank you.